Hi, hello, welcome to SLNSIASACADEMY. My name is Siddesh Kumar and I am a mentor and faculty here. And today we are going to discuss about what exactly the importance of NCERT in the UPSC exam, as well as we will be discussing about the PYQs which have been directly reflected from the NCERTs, and we will be doing the smart way of decoding the PYQ, and let us understand why NCERT formed the bedrock of UPSC success. So yes, as long as NCERT is concerned, it forms a very fundamental basic for NCERT, for UPSC preparation, and so NCERT plays a very crucial role in UPSC. So in many of the angle, and every year UPSC has always ensured that there will be a good number of questions from the NCERTs, and be it in mains and be it in a prelims, so it has a equal potential of coming in the exam often. And not only in the UPSC, it reflects in almost all the competitive exams, but exclusively in UPSC when we see, so this particular section has a high significance, and especially when we talk about prelims, every year we are getting nearly around 14 to 15 questions from the NCERT directly, and without changing even the tone of the statements, and without changing any single changes of the statements, UPSC is directly picking the context and making the questions out of the NCERT, and but these are least considered when it comes to UPSC. Most of the people do neglect the NCERT, and those are often not considered at all, and people straight away jump into the standards, or they may look up to the classes of some GS courses or something, but they often do not consider NCERTs. But today I would assure you that having the thorough understanding of NCERT would be a bedrock of UPSC, and definitely you will have a very strong foundation of NCERT, and based on that, so whenever you are going for the standards, you will have a better understanding, and it is not only for your generating your foundation stronger, it is also important for you to be clearing the basic fundamental concept from the NCERT. So now let us understand what exactly the importance of NCERT in the UPSC preparation. So first and foremost thing that we are supposed to understand is the authentic and standard source. So NCERTs have been considered as one of the most authentic and the standard source because it is being published by the government, and all the textbooks have been finalized, and the expert committees have been set up. The textbook committees have been set up, and based on the expertise inputs, all the NCERT textbooks have been released and published in the market, and as long as authenticity is concerned, so it is more authentic and a standard, so one can easily rely on the NCERT, and no questions arises when you are reading the NCERT with respect to its authenticity. So now coming to the conceptual clarity, so it is written in very simple language so that it will reaches the student in a very clear way, and anybody can easily understand that particular subjects by reading the statement as it is, and you don't have to refer to any other sources once you are reading the NCERT. So then coming to the question shows, many UPSC questions, especially from the subject like polity, geography, and even economy and history. So most of the questions comes from the NCERT, and what we are what surprises is most of the questions are directly lifted and paraphrased on the NCERT content. And now coming to the other part, like a chronological and logical flow, NCERT presents topic in a very progressive and structured manner, so that any person who doesn't have a basic understanding can easily connect with it, and as long as the importance of NCERT is concerned, and the significance of NCERT is concerned, so the the logical flow of the content plays a very crucial role, and anybody can easily understand it. And so in NCERT, the map work and the diagrams and the boxes that you guys have used, so that plays a very crucial role. So the map work and diagrams especially plays a very crucial role in when we are discussing about the geography and the polity and maybe in the history, so the map plays a very crucial role, and so NCERT has clearly use their textbook with filled with lot of diagrams and the maps where a individual can easily connect with the context. So and Yes, it is very reliable source and for factual revision, and NCERT eliminates unnecessary clutter and providing only essential and which is highly exam relevant, and it doesn't put anything which is non-relevant, and whatever that is put in NCERT, do not try to again think of what is important and what is not important in the NCERT. So in the exam perspective, everything which is written in the NCERT is important, because so these in the initial days there was some the debates which is to happen between the students and the the faculties, where the student raises a concern that what has to be read within the NCERT and what is important and what is not important. But UPSC has always surprised everybody that it is not the context, like it is not the topic of a debate here, and because UPSC is asking questions from every single paraphrases and the paragraphs, and which we are not expected and which we are not ready to take up. So because we are not as usually the UPSC is always uncertain and it can ask from anywhere and it can surprise us, and so this is a reliable source and anybody can easily stick to this particular source, even for the the basic fundamental clarity, and also for better score in the UPSC prelims. So now going forward, so yeah, as I discussed, so a quick recall of the importance. So for map work and the diagrams, this plays a very crucial role, and there are multiple direct questions which have been asked from the like a polity, geography and history, and even from the economy section. So we got to see, and a conceptual clarity of a person get very clear because the layman language that has been used, and very fundamental concepts get clear, which is that is the reason we call NCERT as a bedrock for UPSC preparation, and so it is obviously a very relevant source, and yeah. It is a reliable source, and you don't have to be looking for any of the other source except NCERT for your basic conceptual clarity, and you can obviously a quick revision can be done based on it, and most of the people do make a notes out of the NCERT, but NCERT is already a notes, and you don't necessarily have to make a notes out of it. But in case if you are making notes, so that should be like a very short, crisp and ready reckoner of the NCERT, which you can just looking at that you can quickly recall and revise, and it should not be like a bulky NCERT. At the end of the day, student end up making the copy of NCERT in the urge of making a note, so that should not be the case. So when you are making a note, remember that you are keeping it shorter and crisper, and it should be more or less like a ready reckoner, where you can just quickly go on through it as a revision part. And yes, as we discussed, authenticity and the standard of this particular book is always upheld, because it is being government published and it is a reliable source, and every content has been chronologically given, so you don't have to get wander while reading the NCERT. Yes. So we'll go to the questions now. So we'll try to see what are the questions which have directly reflected from the in the prelims exam from NCERT source. So we are taking the first question. So this question is based on the territorial regions and the rivers in ancient India from 1600 to 322 BC. And the source for this particular question is NCERT themes, and from the part 1. And let us understand the question, and then we'll try to link how we are how we are linking with it with this what do you call NCERT. So with reference to ancient India, consider the following pairs. So there is a 2 section, territorial region and rivers flowing in the region. So these these type of questions we get to see every year, and most of the times people get confused here because of the statements or the options given more in number. So obviously this is a trap for the students, most of them who are not done the basic fundamental clear. So now let us understand how it is directly linked with the source. So this is the source that we are quoting here, and so this is from the NCERT textbook itself, and from the textbook themes of Indian history part 1. And let us come back to the question here. So yes, Asmaka and and Kamboja and Havanti and Kosala, these are the territorial regions of the ancient history. And now considering this, so whatever the river flowing in this particular regions have been asked. So now what is the answer should be like whichever the regions that we have mentioned here, that should be the territorial region should be linked with the river flowing in that specific region. So now Asmaka is the river which is flowing in the flowing in the region of what you call the Godavari, and Kamboja and Avanti and Kosala. So we have to try to eliminate the the wrong answer out of these all four options. So the so as to ensure that you are opting a right answer. So eliminate, to have that knowledge, to get that hold on this particular context, to deal with this kind of questions, as long as you do not go with this NCERT, and as long as you are not doing the map based analysis which is being given in NCERTs, and as long as you are not following the flow charts or the boxes that has been given in the NCERT, so you may not be able to solve this particular type of questions. So to solve this particular type of question, so what I urge is, try to understand while reading the NCERT that you are covering the source from the exam perspective, and ensuring that you are not skipping off any of the thing, and you are not judging the book based on the importance or not important. So you don't decide what is important and what is not important, because what you think it is not important may not be the same for UPSC. So coming to this question, so the Kamboja, the river flowing in the region is Vipas, so it is not correct answer, because so Jhelum flows here, and Avanti and Mahanadi. So Avanti is a region, territorial region, and the Mahanadi, it is again wrong options here, and Kosala and Sarayu. So out of this, so Asmaka, the first pair and the last pair, which is the fourth pair, are correct. And so that how many of the above pairs are given correctly matched? So we got, so only one, no, only two, and only three, and all the four. So we got only two out of all the four statements, so all the four pairs. So the B stands as a answer. So here the Asmaka is there, and Avanti, and Kosambi, and these are all the rivers which are flowing in that particular regions. And while you are doing the map based study linking to the history and historical context, so try to link them with the chapter or with the subject that you are reading. So and taking a chance of skipping them would cost you too much in the UPSC prelims. So now going forward to next question. So next question is about cultural titles of South Indian rulers in ancient India. So yes, South in South not only in South India, so in all ancient history. So when we talk about the rulers, so it is always become important in the terms of titles and their administrations and their contribution. So these are all the area where UPSC always fetches some the questions. And now coming to this question, so who among the following rulers in ancient India had assumed the titles of Mattavilasa and Visachitra and Gunabara? So these are the three words and the three titles, and the question asked about which among the following rulers had all these titles. So now this particular question has been directly taken from this particular source, NCERT Themes in Indian History Part 1, and it reflects in Tamil Nadu class 11th history also. So here this is the source that we are showcasing here, and let us understand the source also by linking with that. So I'll read it out the source for you. The tradition painting extends further down south in Tamil Nadu and preceding the centuries with the regional variation during the regions of Pallava, Pandya and Chola. The Pallava king who succeeded the Chalukya kings in part of South India were also the patrons of art. The Mahendra Varma I, who ruled the 7th century, was responsible for building the temples in Panamalai. So here, in case if you notice the last two lines, so we are getting what exactly this particular question is linked with. So Vichitra Chitta, the curious minded, that means, and Mandaga Pattu. So these all the that is inscription, and even this may become very important in the exam point of time, exam point of view. So the authentic sources have been attached from where the UPSC has made this particular question. So now what is the answer for this? So I'll read it out the question again. Who among the following rulers in ancient India had assumed the titles of Mattavilasa and Visitrasitta and Gunabhara? So the answer would stand. So however, the Simha Vishnu and Narasimhavarman and the Simhavarman are not the answers here, because I have already witnessed, I have showed you the source which is very authentic here, and it is clearly stating that Mahendravarman is the answer for this particular question. So going forward, so let us take a question from other ancient India. So traditional irrigation technique in ancient India, and which is called as Aragata device. So and this particular question was asked in 2016 also, and this is again repeated this year. And so those who have that misconception that UPSC never ask or never repeat the question, so this is the live evidence for them that UPSC is repeating the question and in the same format without changing anything in the question. So now let us read out this particular question. The irrigation device called Haragata was option A, B, C, D, and in option A water bag made of leather pulled over a pulley. So this is not the correct option. A large wheel with the earthen pots tied to the outer end of its spokes. So I would just show this picture if it is visible clearly. So in this picture you can see that it is a large wheel, and earthen pots have been tied at the end of the the wheel, and this is a direct picture or the image we get to see in ancient textbook of this particular source. Ancient themes in Indian history part 1 and Tamil Nadu class 11th history also you get to see this. So thus the answer is B, which is a large wheel of earthen pots tied to the outer ends of the spokes. So going forward, let us understand now the administrative officials under Ashoka related question. So the questions are based on Pradeshika, Rajuka and Yukta, which are like the post or the positions or some important officers under the Ashokan rule. So read out the question for you. Ashokan inscriptions. Okay. Ashokan inscriptions suggest that the Pradeshika, Rajuka and Yukta were important officers at the, so these many options have been given. So for this particular question, again this is the source and from where directly the questions have been picked up. So Ashoka's, so I don't want to read out all the text for you, so but you can see here Rajukas for the administration and justice in the empire. So the statements have been directly taken from here and it has been reflected in the question. So for for this particular question the answer is, so let us look out the answer for this: village level administration option A, and option B district level administration, option C provincial administration, and option D level of central administration. So this particular question the answer is district level administration, which is being considered and which reflected in the NCERT directly. So from this you can understand like how UPSC is playing with the NCERTs, and by ensuring that and by re-emphasizing on the NCERTs that it is going to be a game changer in the UPSC prelims, as long as you have a strong hold on these particular subjects, especially the history and geography and economy for some extent, will literally help you a lot. And now let us go for again ancient. So Chola naval expedition. So this particular question has been asked multiple times in the UPSC, and this is not again new for UPSC. And so Rajendra I campaign against Sri Vijaya related question, and source for this is being attached here. So I will read out the question for you. Who among the following led the successful military campaign against the kingdom of Sri Vijaya and the powerful maritime state which ruled the Malay Peninsula and Sumatra, Java and neighboring highlands? So this particular question itself has been directly taken from NCERT, which is part 1 of the themes of Indian history, and it you will get to see again in the class 11th NCERT textbook of Tamil Nadu board. And yeah, let us read out the source for this particular content or the question. So Raja Raja I, considered the most powerful Chola ruler, became the king in 1985 and expanded the control over most of these areas, and he also recognized administrations of the empire. So now Rajaraja's son Rajendra I continued his policies, and even he raided the Ganga Valley and the Sri Lanka and countries of South India. So here it is very much clear the questions have been directly taken from this particular text, and so Amogha Varsha is not the answer, and Pratap Paruta is not our answer, who is a Kakatiya ruler, and Rajendra I and Vishnuvardhana. So Rajendra I from the Chola kingdom is the answer for that, and the source and the evidence is here. So now going forward to next question. So it is some of the question from directly asked from the NCERTs of geography, and the first question is based on the continental drift theory. So this particular topic is a very favorite topic of UPSC, and most of the time this particular the questions have been reflected. So it is not again the first time, and the weightage of this particular topic is very high in the UPSC. And this comes under the source of fundamental physics, fundamental physical of geography, and which is of class 11th, chapter 4. And now let us understand the question. So which of the following are the evidences of the phenomena of continental drift? So the belt of ancient rocks from Brazil coast matches with those from the Western Africa, and the gold deposit of Ghana are derived from the Brazil Plateau, with the two continental lay side by side, and the Gondwana system of sediments from India is known to have its counterpart in 6 different land masses of the southern hemisphere. So this particular questions directly taken from the source which has been attached here, and evidence in support of the continental drift. So you are able to see here the continental drift theory is a big chapter, and which is very interesting in nature too, and which has a potential of coming in the mains as well as the prelims, and here the UPSC has directly taken this question straight away from the attached source here. And so now coming back to the question, so let us understand so what exactly the the correct answer for this. The belt of ancient India rocks from Brazil coast matches with those from the Western Africa. So here you can see that the Western Africa and the South America facing each other have remarkable and unmistakable matches, and it may be noted that a map produced using computer and program to find the best fit of the Atlantic margin. And I would have to emphasize this, to solve this kind of questions, even the maps have been playing a very important role, and especially when you're solving the geography question. So the invisible map has to come in front of you, and only then you can solve this particular questions. So here yes, UPSC is the textbooks have been already incorporated with the maps and the flowchart that is required. So thus, the entire context can be understood easily, and try to link with the map, and try to analyze the maps and the flowcharts that has been given, so that you don't miss out anything in NCERT. So now for this particular answer, so you got to know that so the evidence has been attached, and based on this evidence, so all of these three statements are correct, and this is the question directly from this particular NCERT. So now going for next question from the similar subject, and this is based on the dust particles in the atmosphere. So distribution of dust particles in the atmosphere, and let us understand. So the source for this particular question is a fundamental of physical geography from class 11th, chapter 8, composition of atmosphere. So here the attachment of the source with the evidence. So dust particles, yes. So this particular questions have been exactly made based on the content given without changing given the the keywords which has been used in the statements. So by this you should be able to understand how important each and every single lines, and reading between the line is also highly important, and most of the people take this for granted by neglecting the some section of the NCERT. So NCERT is just contains around 100 to 120 pages of text, so which is of a potential role in understanding your basic fundamental concepts, and also which is playing your what you call, which is making you ready to grasp the standard knowledge of the other subjects. So yes, do not take it for granted. Let us come back to the question. So consider the following statements. And statement 1, the amount of dust particles in the atmosphere is more in subtropical and temperate areas than in the equatorial and the polar region. And the statement 2 is subtropical and temperate areas have less dry winds. So here the catch is less. So this type of words, the extreme words when UPSC uses like less, more, only, so you should be very much cautious. And the moment I get to see the less, so I got a catch that yes, this particular question is being tricky and trying to play with me. So in case if you read this particular attachment, you will get to understand that what exactly the importance of this attach, and it has been directly asked. Dust particles are generally concentrated in the lower layers of the atmosphere, yet convectional air currents may transport them to greater heights. So I don't want to read out the entire attachment to you, but I hope you are able to connect that how NCERT is playing a role. So in this I can easily eliminate the statement 2, because subtropical and temperate areas have more dry winds, not less. So with this I could say this, statement 1 is correct, but statement the 2 is not correct. So going further for the second question. So isotherms and temperature patterns, so which is again a very good topic, so which most of the people whenever it comes to the geography, so they become very choosy, and so they'll skip out these kind of potential topics, but which is again very important, and UPSC have touched upon these areas earlier also. And coming back to the top question, so consider the following statements. So statement 1, in January in the northern hemisphere and the the isotherms bend equatorward and while crossing the land masses, the poleward while crossing the oceans. So what exactly it is saying? So isotherms bend equatorialwards while crossing the land masses, and poleward it bend towards poleward while crossing the oceans. Now coming to the second statement, in January the air over the oceans is warmer than that over the land masses in the northern hemisphere. So here again, when I tell you that UPSC keeps some tricks here, so you have to be very much careful. In January the air over the ocean is warmer than, so this is something which is extreme that they are trying to use. So whenever there is some extreme words, so you have to be very much careful. So for this particular question, yes, I am already attached this source, the directly from this particular source has been taken, and let us understand. I'll not be reading all attachment, but by reading this you will understand what exactly the importance of it, and by line to line the statements have been taken. So in January and July, so the temperature distribution generally shown in the map, so you have to understand the map also to answer such kind of questions. And it shows it helps of with the help of isotherms. The isotherms are lines joining the places having equal temperature, And in general effect, latitude on temperature is when pronounced on the map is the isotherms are generally parallel to the latitude. So in case if you can read out this particular attachment, so you get to understand what exactly the significance of this particular source, and how UPSC is taking up some of the statement and they are trying to twist a bit and change the nature of or the tone of that particular statement, and they are giving when I say that UPSC is directly taking the question questions and framing the statements based on the NCERT, so I can't assure you that every question is from the same nature and the same sound. So sometimes the UPSC is taking the same statements, but they are trying to play with the words. They are just changing the tone of the statement, and they are changing the nature of the statement. Yeah, so here we'll understand what exactly the answer for this particular question. So the first statement, in January in the northern hemisphere and the isotherms bend equatwards, it is correct, while crossing the land masses, and polewards while crossing the ocean. So this statement stands correct. And statement 2, in January the air over the ocean is warmer, yes, it is warmer, and over the land masses in the northern hemisphere. So it is warmer than the land masses in the northern hemisphere. So here, so what is the correct answer? So both the statement 1 has to know it is not correct, and both the statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, but statement 2 does not explain statement 1. No, and the statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is not correct. Nope, and statement 1 is not correct, and but statement 2 is correct. So what is the answer for this particular question? So both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, and statement 2 explains statement 1. So because since both of the statements are correct, and so option A stands as correct answer for this. So going forward, so this particular question is based on non-cooperation moment, and so yes, let us understand so what exactly the source for this. So this source is from Indian Contemporary World, class 10, chapter 2, Nationalism in India. So let us understand the question again here. So consider the following subject with regard to non-cooperation program. So non-cooperation, again, it is not a new new topic for UPSC, and UPSC has always touched upon this area earlier, and it is a very important for very important context both for prelims and mains. And here we can see that the source have been attached. So and you don't have to mug up the whole part of the non-cooperation movement to answer this particular question. Just only having the hold on that particular section of attachment that we have put, so you can be able to answer that particular question, because each and every statement, in case if you see, it has been taken directly from the particular questions. Renunciation of all voluntary association with the British government, and yeah, so let us see the question first. So statement 1, boycott of law courts and foreign clothes. So boycott of law courts and foreign clothes, yes, in non-cooperation movement that was there, and observance of strict non-violence, yes, it was there, and retention of titles and honors without using them in public. So here UPSC is playing very nice. So retention, is it retention which happened or renunciation? So you can see this particular word here directly in the attachment. So it is not retention, it is renunciation of all the titles. So and statement 4, establishment of panchayat for setting disputes, and so they established even some institutions like education institution while doing that, like you can see here, yeah, attending schools, colleges and law courts and not paying the tax. So these are the highlighted points that you can see to answer this particular question. And now, so we got the correct statement. Statement 1, boycott of law courts and foreign clothes, which is correct, and observance of strict non-violence, it is correct. And the third statement is standing wrong, because it is not retention of titles, it is renunciation of titles that happened. And so fourth statement, establishment of panchayat for setting disputes. So now how many of the above were part of the non-cooperation movement program? So only 1, only 2, only 3, and all of the 4. So how many of them? So 1, 2, 3. So then option C standing answer here. Going forward, this is the question from the economy, and very surprisingly, as I discussed in my previous video, so UPSC is making economy paper a calculating paper, and now the essence of CSAT is coming to economy paper, and UPSC in future it may make you use calculator to solve the GS1 paper, because the nature of the question that we got to see this year is surprising, and but it it never happened before in the history of the UPSC by giving questions related to calculations, and this year we got to see few questions which are application based questions. And yes, so let us see this particular question, and I have already attached the source for this particular question, which has been taken directly from this. And suppose the revenue expenditure is 80,000 crore and the revenue receipts of the government are 60,000. So 80,000 crore, and which is revenue expenditure, and the revenue receipts of the government are 60,000. Revenue receipts are 60,000 crore. The government budget also shows borrowing of 10,000 crores and interest payment of 6,000. So borrowing is 10,000 crore and interest is 6,000 crore. Which of the following statements are correct? Revenue deficit 20,000 crores. Yeah. So revenue deficit, how do you calculate the revenue deficit? Revenue expenditure and revenue receipt. So you have to subtract the revenue expenditure from the revenue receipts, so you will get the revenue deficit. So what is the revenue deficit here? So the statement 1 says revenue deficit is 20,000 crore. So from 80,000, in case if you are subtracting the 60,000 crore, which is the revenue receipt, so you get the 20,000 crore, and which is the revenue receipt, deficit of the government. And now the physical deficit. So physical deficit is 10,000 crores, and the option statement 3, primary deficit is of 4,000 crores. Yeah. So from the total expenditure, when you subtract the total receipts, so you get the physical deficit. And again primary deficit, so what do you call, you have to be subtracting physical deficit from the interest. So whatever the physical deficit that we have, so 10,000. So in case if you are subtracting the interest that we are having 6,000, so 4,000 is the primary deficit. So now what is the answer for this particular question? Revenue deficit of 20,000 crore, it is correct. And in case if you see the entire attachment which we have put as a source here, so each and every the calculations which have been done is based on this. So just the figure changes, but the problem remains same. So whenever it comes to the macroeconomy part, so UPSC has asked the question previously, but not exactly the same format, in the different way. But this year UPSC has surprised, and this particular source you get to see in macroeconomy, the introductory to macroeconomy, class 11th. So chapter 5, which is government budget and the economy. So now looking to this particular question, so all these 3 statements stands correct. So the option D is correct. 1, 2 and 3 of the statements are correct. Now coming to again second one, gross primary deficit related question. And so now let us understand, it is again the same from the same attachment and from the same source, from the same page. How can UPSC give you 2 questions, and which happened this year? And so from the NCERT, especially the economy NCERT is being highly neglected and highly least considered subject or the NCERT in the UPSC preparation. But that particular subject, especially the economy section of class 9th and 10th, has a high potential of reflecting in your prelims. So now reading out this particular question for you. Our country physical deficit stands at 50,000 crores. It is receiving 10,000 crores through a non-debt creating a capital receipt. So it is not a debt actually, and it is creating a capital receipt. So the country's interest liabilities are 1,500 crores. So it is interest liability which has to be paid back. So what is the gross primary deficit? This is the question. So yeah, in case if you see the second part, like a second section of this, you would be able to understand what exactly the answer for this particular question. So here, so yeah, physical deficit stands at 50,000 crores. So physical deficit of the country is 50,000, and so it is receiving 10,000 crores through non-debt creating a capital receipts. So that we do not consider here, and the country's interest liability are 1,500. So since it is not a debt, so we don't do any calculation with this. So what we are supposed to do is, so we are subtracting the interest liabilities that are supposed to pay back, so that is 1,500 crores. So what would be the answer? So 51,500 crores is not the answer, 58,500 is not the answer, and so answer stands 48,500 crores. So which is option A. So option A is the correct answer. And going forward, so this question was very surprising this year, and we never expected that UPSC can give answer in the question itself. So the famous female figurine known as dancing girl found in Mohenjo-daro is made of. So the dancing girl, so you must have seen in almost all the ancient text. So be it NCERT of class 6th or maybe 11th, or even in the Tamil Nadu text. So dancing girl, like what do you call, IVC becomes so important this year because it's celebrated 100 years of what do you call, the excavations happened. And yes, so this is from the introductory of Indian art page, and page number 16, and it is not only in what do you call, this particular text, it is also in all other ancient texts from class 6 or maybe from class 11th. So now let us read out this particular question again for you guys. The famous female figurine known as dancing girl found at Mohenjo-daro made up of. So the options are carnelian and clay and bronze and gold. So these are the options which has been given. So this is the dancing girl image that we get to see in the NCERT, which is attached, and so we get to see that clearly mentioned what exactly the what exactly the what do you call, metal used to make this particular statue, or maybe the figure that has been made up of. So it is found in Mohenjo-daro. Yes, it is correct. And so it's made up of bronze ultimately, because UPSC, like whenever we discuss about the IVC, so most of the times the questions are purely based on metals when it is related to IVC question. So and it is bronze which is the correct answer, which is making out here. And looking at the what do you call, the image itself, you should be able to understand what metal it is. So clearly it is being given in the what do you call, NCERT, and it is not only important for your prelims, and again it is plays a very crucial role in mains also. And so in coming year UPSC might what do you call, ask a question regarding the gesture of her hand, and so maybe the features of that particular figure, and it has been asked in the previous years. So this particular section plays a very crucial role in exam. So now again coming back to the physical geography related question. So international dateline. So yes, for this type of question, says UPSC as asked previously, and this plays a very crucial role. And especially this particular section has played a very crucial role. So you should not be taking geography for granted, because most of the people directly jump into the standard sources without clearing the basic fundamental thing. So by this you should not, you should be able to understand how important the NCERTs are. So yeah, the question is Anadyr in Siberia and Nome in Alaska are few kilometers from each other. So it is application based question, and but when people are walking up and getting set for breakfast in these cities, it would be different days. Okay, so Anadyr in Siberia, so this is a Russian origin, and okay, so statement 2, when it is Monday in Anadyr, it is Tuesday in Nome. So yes, there is a difference. So here what do you call, Nome is in US, so you should be able to clear out with this basic thing, and Anadyr is in Siberia, sorry, Anadyr is in Russia. So there is a clear time difference in this, so not lot of time, but the trick is, so whether it is a time difference or the day difference, and being very specific to the context. The prime meridian and interest the prime meridian and increases to its west, hence for the person moving east of the prime meridian, the time would be 12 hours less than the time at the 0 degree longitude. So you can see the statements given here, which attached with the examples here, and for example, when a person moving eastward on Tuesday will count day as Wednesday once the international date line is crossed. Similarly, another person starting his journey on the same day but moving westward will count day as Monday after crossing the line. So here what exactly the answer? So there is no lot of time difference actually. So but what is the difference? So they are actually they are on exact time. So if, for example, Anadyr is also having 6 a.m. and even the Nome is having maybe 6 a.m. but there is a day difference. So when Anadyr is having when Anadyr is having Monday, so maybe the Nome is having a day before means which is Sunday. So when Anadyr is experiencing Monday, so the Nome is experiencing Sunday. So there is a difference here, and there is one day of one day which happens prior to the Nome, and Anadyr comes later. So which of the statements given above are correct? So yeah. So statement 2 is not the correct answer, because when it is Monday in Anadyr, it is Tuesday in Nome. So Tuesday is not the answer, because so so Nome experiences a day before, so to Anadyr. So thus the option A, which is only 1, the statement only 1 is correct. So now going forward to the other question. Time zones, again this is related to the time zone. So UPSC has asked multiple questions based on the time zones this year, and geographical and political division of the time. So which is the source for this particular question? So practical work in geography part 1. So we have attached the source also here, so you can see the all the time zones of the India. So and many of the people get stuck in this type of question, because the specificity of the statements cannot be met here. Consider the following current countries, and so how many of the above countries have more than 4 time zones? So yes, so this particular question is of bit tricky, because as long as it do not follow the maps, and as long as you are not reading each and every line, and as I told you, like reading between the line is very much important for the solving this type of questions. So let us understand, United Kingdom is having more than I think 10 plus time zone, and Denmark is having more than 4 time zone, and yes, and New Zealand is also having more than 5 zones, I guess, and Australia is having I think around 5 plus zones, but Brazil is having around 4 time zones, not 4 plus, it is having exactly 4 time zones. So thus how many of the above countries have more than 4 time zones is the question. So all the 5 is not the answer, and only 4 and only 3 and only 2. So United Kingdom, yes, it has more than 4 timelines. Denmark is also having, New Zealand is also having, Australia is having, but Brazil is not having, because Brazil is having only 4 standard time zones. So then option B is the correct answer, which is only 4. So that's I would these are all the questions we got to see in this year, particularly from the NCERT part. And what exactly this brings to you guys is like NCERT plays really a very crucial role, and going forward, ensure that you are completing the NCERT thoroughly by reading or by having classes. And we as SLNS Academy going to start up NCERT classes in the coming days, and I would urge you all to get on board and ensure that you are reading the NCERTs thoroughly, and so not only reading the NCERT but also analyzing the PYQ and knowing the weightage of each of the source and each of the context, and make it to the better advantage. And do not directly jump into the standards without completing the NCERT. It is big, that situation will be more or less like you are directly jumping to ocean to swim before even practicing your swimming in the pond. So try to first have the good old on basic NCERTs, and once they are done, then have going forward to have a better standard coverage in the standard book would make a more better sense. So NCERTs really play a very crucial role, and again I am re-emphasizing on this. And thank you so much, and thank you.